Isaac didn't want to get on?
Packs are in your ears, boy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Texas Sports World. I'm your host, Ethan, and this is my brother, Logan. And we are here to discuss a few things. We'll lead off with, obviously, the two things we're going to discuss. Mainly, it's going to be about, obviously, Texas, Georgia, and what that turned out to be. And then towards the end, we're going to get into the Texans and how that ended up being. 0 for 2 this weekend, Logan. We did not have a good football weekend.
It was not good. It was not good.
I think I went 0 for 5 this week. I went 0 for 2 in real life and then 0 for 3 in fantasy. So it's just been a gung ho type of weekend for me, boy. I tell you,
I also went 0 for 4 this weekend. So
it was. I'm very disappointed in how this weekend turned out. Okay, so how do you even want to? Because I've been going over a script in my head all day, all week. So okay, first let me start with the reason why I didn't do one the day after. I needed a little time to digest exactly how I was feeling because I was saying some crazy stuff.
yeah, you
Okay?
were. You absolutely were. I had to
But
talk
you know
you
what the
off the
crazy
ledge.
thing is?
I had
No,
to
but
talk you and Dad off the ledge. Dad
you know
was
what the crazy,
literally on the ledge.
you know what the crazy thing is? Is there some of it I'll still stand by when we go over it today. But I want to get I want to start with how you're feeling today, 48 hours after.
Okay, let me just say this. I was at the game. I was in the stadium. I was at church. I was there. And first half was terrible on the offensive side of the ball. I thought special teams did really well. I thought defense played a hell of a game. They played as well as you can when your offense doesn't put any points up on the board. I just think bringing in Arch wasn't necessary because he obviously didn't do much. Granted, he did get 15 yards on the first drive that he played when Quinn didn't get hardly any.
So let's back up. Let's back up. Let's back up. Let's back up. Okay. So I want to start just from the beginning. Okay. So the game starts. Both teams go 3-and-out to start the game, right? So at this point, we're thinking this is exactly kind of, we figured it was going to be this to start out with because you have two elite defenses, right? You got a Georgia defense that granted they were missing their best cover linebacker, but really that didn't seem to make a big difference. Walker off the edge, they were mixing up looks with linebackers, hitting double A gap blitzes on a twist on the backside, just some crazy stuff up front that we just hadn't seen.
They were bringing 6 or 7 every play,
right? That we just hadn't seen before, and frankly, I don't think Quinn was prepared to face that kind of pressure so fast because he thought our offensive line was good. But I digress. So back-to-back 3-and-outs, and then Georgia comes out. We have a pick on their second drive. Now, at this point, you're thinking, okay, we're here now. Like, okay, we've established that they're not just going to, come in and outfit and punch us in the mouth, and we're just going to fall down, right? Because at first you think slow start for the offense. They come out, and it's like, okay, this is where it felt like it was going to be, and we passed the test. Andrew Mukuba with the bobbling interception, awesome. Okay, and that was kind of the theme of the night. Defensively, there wasn't a whole lot to point at outside of two drives where they, because coming out at halftime when we go down and score and make it 23-15, right? Then we on the kickoff we get them down at like 10 or something, 12 or something like that. We get it down to 3rd and 15, and now I want. So what this drive? So I said after the game that this felt like a Tom Herman, just a Tom Herman team. It just felt like the ashes of the old regime. Hold on, let me make the point.
Yeah, I'll let you
make the point. Let me make the point. It felt like the ashes of the old regime came up and just gave us one more, hey, we're still here. Like the demons weren't totally gone yet. Like they were still there. And I'll tell you why. You know what that reminded me of? Third and 17 or whatever it was. We gave up that pass to Joe Burrow and LSU.
Mhm.
and it completely changed the game. They ran for a touchdown, and the game was over from that point forward. That's kind
Well,
of what this felt like. We had them on the ropes, 3rd and 15. We had a chance to really make it to come back to tie the game. If we stop them there, they punt the ball right there. The momentum's in our favor. There's a chance we go down there and score right there because we had came out on offense in the second half and we were doing fine. It looked like we were mounting a comeback, and they go down and go 85 yards for a touchdown. I mean,
here's what I'm going to say. I think we got to give props to this Georgia team. We thought we were just going to come in here and score 40 on them. You know, just
it's not even though we thought we were going to score 40, but
just solely
more
off
than
of what we
15.
saw. Solely off what we saw against Kentucky and what we saw against Alabama. We thought we were going to be able to come in here and just and Georgia, you're not going to do that. We should have known that. You're not going to be able to just come in here, handle business, and get out. You knew it was going to be a dogfight.
I get that, but our defense gave our offense 3 extra possessions, and
Oh, I
and
know.
3 extra possessions.
When you go 1 or 2 for 14 or whatever it was on third
On
down,
third down is
on.
crazy.
you
It's
can't
crazy.
you can't win ball games that way. And I mean, and Carson Beck didn't look great. He had 3 interceptions or whatever it was.
That's what I'm saying. Is like it
So
really was it. 'Cause all week we had talked about it was going to be. I felt like it was going to be whose defense got the or whose defense was going to step up. Whose defense got the who's going to get the last stop. I felt like we should have been able to score more than 15. Yes. Was it illogical to think we were going to go out there and score 45? Sure. Nobody. I didn't expect it to. I mean, I figured it would maybe be like 30, 34, 31, or like, you know, whatever defense could get the last stop. Excuse me. And then all of a sudden you have our offense is inept. There was no, and then there were just so many ill-advised like things that we had never seen before. It was like the moment was too big for them all of a sudden. Like there was just so many that were just out of character. Like things that we thought that we weren't seeing. Offensive line played terrible, and you know, you're right. We can't put all the blame on Quinn.
They brought 6 or 7 every time. There's only 5 offensive linemen.
I understand that, but so that's not like a new thing. That's not like something new. Teams bring more than protection all the time. That's why you have things to combat that, and there just wasn't.
I think we did a lot better at it in the second half. Once we saw that they were doing that the whole time, then we were able to move the ball and get multiple guys back in the backfield to try and protect a little bit better.
Sure, and that brings me to.
I'm not trying to give any excuses or anything like that. Offensive line played terrible, but we should have known. We should have known coming into the game that they were going to bring pressure.
Absolutely, we knew this is it's an SEC it's a high-end Georgia defense. There's no doubt about it. But this goes. I was going to get into this later. I feel like I'm getting into too many points too fast because I have so many things I want to say, and then we kind of get on rabbit holes. But Quinn in the second half. There were multiple times where he didn't have to move, like offensive line held up. He didn't have to do if he just calmed down. Like his internal clock after that first half was just screwed. And a part of that, and we'll get into Steve Sarkisian's decision he made before halftime, but a part of that is kind of goes into that. You know, something isn't right with Quinn. We're in year 3 now. And he's still making the mistake that he made against Oklahoma State or whoever, or the Iowa States of the world when we played them in year 1. He still has happy feet. Where's the Quinn from Alabama a year ago? Where's the Quinn from Michigan? We talked all week about what this game is dependent upon what Quinn we get. We talked all week about if the Quinn that came out against Oklahoma that went 20 for 29, 199 yards, a pick and interception. Or a touchdown and a pick. If that Quinn came out, we were going to lose this game. We said that on a podcast. Or at least we said that to each other. Yeah. And then what Quinn do we get? Comes out because at the same time, it's Quinn's job to put the offensive line in position to get the protection right.
Yeah,
it's year 3, dude.
We can't put all the blame on.
Man, no, I'm tired. Listen, I am tired of. I have been in Quinn's corner since day one. I've been in his corner. Everybody's calling for his job multiple times. I've always said y'all are crazy. That Arch, when he went down and Arch came in, I came on here and made a huge argument about why none of what Arch is doing right now really matters. It's about Quinn. Quinn is the guy. I came on here and I said that, and then now now I'm forced into having a discussion because Isaac was in my ear all week talking about how he doesn't think that Quinn is a big game player, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. There's no way we can think that.
But are we gonna blame? I mean, are we gonna say that
after after
he went 12-1 last year, and now he's
Logan,
6-1? I mean, come on, you can't.
Logan, we're talking about games that mattered. In a playoff game, he crumbled against Washington. Okay, in a playoff level game against Georgia, when you have a chance, like he had a chance to take hit to make or break. There's nothing left for him. Like, okay, that's crazy. There is a lot. Because here's the thing. I'm saying all this, but everything is still ahead of us. I'm well aware of that. That the season's not over. Nothing's crazy. Everything's still ahead of us. It's all fine. Okay, but I'm talking about from a point of view of he's never had a signature win at home where he's never had a moment at home. It's always been on the road or at neutral sites, and he's never just taken the game of the cojones and just been the number one rated quarterback. He's never done it. And I sat in his corner for a long time, but I think we're forced to have that discussion now.
So
we're forced to have the Quinn Ewers discussion.
How much blame do we put on coaching?
That's a whole nother thing, okay? Because
we should have kicked the field goal on that 4th and whatever it was.
That's so early.
You take the points. Because then you come back in the second half, you get the ball, and you go down and score, and now it's only a one-score game.
Hold on. I think Dad's wanting the...
Should we take an intermission?
No. It's fine. Hold on. Thought he was driving. Anyways, yeah, yes, okay. So the thing about coaching in this game was, and this is credit to Georgia. This is credit to what Georgia was able to do defensively against Texas. There was this offense is predicated on run before the pass, right? They need to run to set up the pass. They want to get you in and then throw it over your head. That's kind of what the deal is. There was zero run game. They could, and then like there were moments where they cut it up too quick. And they would have just stayed out. They would have just stayed and ran a 200. They had leverage, or it never felt like there was any cohesive like down to down play calling. It was a freaky Friday. I just didn't feel like I was watching the same team that we'd watched the last week. It just felt so weird. It felt like a completely different team to me.
It looked like they were playing scared. Honestly, that's what it did.
I mean, and it just felt like the moment was too big for them all of a sudden. It was the weirdest thing.
But to say that they looked like a Tom Herman team is just completely false. It's just not true.
Look, Tom Herman beat a Georgia team.
Yeah.
No, hold on, wait. No, but this is gonna get so much. I don't want Tom Herman. That's not what I don't.
Okay, who would you rather have, Tom Herman or Sark? I mean, it's
okay. That's obvious. Obviously, you'd rather Sark. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying when like this was a shot to like we had a shot to set ourselves apart, take over college football, and maybe that's still there in the future, but it felt like they built and like I started getting nervous when I saw Sark on game day like dissecting his own film. What are you doing, man? Go have a meeting with go do something. Why are you on TV right now?
Yeah.
You got the biggest game of your career and you're on TV, and it was cool in the moment. It's like, oh, that's cool. But the moment that everything was pro Texas, everything like
okay. Another thing is
weekend was so frustrating. Nothing went the way I expected it to go.
We don't need to be number one, right? I mean, it'd be
Right.
great.
It's a
It would
long
be great.
season.
It would be great to be number one. I would love to be number one for
Here's the
13
thing.
for 13 weeks, but
Right.
we got bigger fish to fry. We really do.
That's fine. That's fair. That's fair. And here's the thing.
But
It's not
we're
even
looking
that
at
we
it.
lost.
We're looking at it like this, and we just need to.
No, Logan, listen. It's not even how we lost. I mean, it's not even that we lost. Okay, that's fine. But it's the way that it happened. We just looked unprepared, confused, and honestly, and I have this to say, okay? Shout out to the student section.
No.
Shout out to the
no,
student section for real.
no,
Nah, get off your high horse, dude. Get off. Texas is too good for that. I don't want to hear that. Okay? They did what every self-respecting fan wanted to do in that situation. I'm not saying it's right, but I get it. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. But hey, they got him to change the call because they had to stop the game. So
No,
let's talk about home
going
field
to get
advantage.
changed anyway. It was going to get changed anyway. I'm telling you, I was in the stadium. The guy was already walking out as soon as they made the call to review it, and they were already talking about it before they threw the stuff on the field.
But you said it's not. It wasn't a reviewable play.
I meant not. Sorry, let me rephrase my words. Not to review it, but to go out there and talk to each other and make sure that was the right call. Now, if we want to talk about calls, I don't think the second targeting penalty was a targeting. The first one was. I don't think the second
one
one.
Was that the because there was two that were called and one that wasn't called.
No, there was two called. And
I know there was two called and one that wasn't. There was one like literally the play after the first one.
Oh yeah.
Trey Watson, and
Yeah,
he
yeah,
hit him, and that one was targeting too, like directly after. And I can't remember the other one.
There was one. I can't remember who it was against. I can't remember. But I moral of the story for me is I think we're going to be fine. I think Sark's going to come back this week to practice, and he's going to get it right. Granted, we are playing Vanderbilt, but they've already upset one number one team.
That's what I said. I was like, of course we got Vanderbilt next. Like, of course we do.
It's gonna be a rough next couple weeks, 4 or 5 weeks.
And I mean, and look, here's the thing. It definitely we're gonna find out a lot about this team in the next couple of weeks. That's for sure. Because they could just as easily as things were getting ramped up, they could fall apart.
Yeah,
in a hurry, especially in today's day and age. Especially in today's day. Let's say we go out there and lose two more randomly. It's gonna, I'm not saying it's not doom and gloom. I'm not trying to say, but it could happen that fast, especially in today's college football. So we're gonna learn a lot about what this team is.
Dad wants the link still.
I just emailed it to him right now.
Cool. So all right, let's just break down the game in a little bit more detail. Back to kind of what I was saying in the beginning. I think the defense played as well as they could. We had really good play from our special teams. We had a backup punter. Okay, he did fine, I guess. I think the running backs are still killing us. Not having our,
Oh, here we go.
Hey, there she is. There she is.
Here she blows.
How goes it?
Are she blown?
Whoa. That's so close.
Man, I got a big head.
Yeah, back up a little bit. There we go. It's because I got to fit
little thing here.
I got to fit us all into the screen here. I guess I'll take this. I'm not used to having 3 heads on here. Sometimes I'll be forgetting. We'll take this.
Three heads is a lot.
That's a lot of head.
That's crazy. Y'all gotta get it back. No, we're gonna go back to the smaller heads. I think we're gonna go back to small. Shit. Okay. Just click on it.
Okay.
There we go. So we were just
now that Dad's here, what I was saying is I think defense played as well as they could have without the offense putting up any points. Thought our special teams played well. Now the offense, I was just talking to Ethan about this. I think not having your starting running back hurt is killing us right now. Not having C backs back there.
Well, I think
We're
our defense,
definitely.
I think the defense played out of their minds. If it wasn't for the
I mean,
defense,
you can't ask for any better than that.
Well, when you score 23 points on 60 yards of offense,
Yeah, their average starting position is like 30 or something like that.
yeah, they got 23 points on 60 yards of offense. So, but that's last week.
I'll say this.
Like we were talking last week, I said it was going to come down to the fat guys. It was going to be our offensive line.
And our guys got worked. And our offensive line got worked.
Well, and Ewers didn't do them any favors.
That's what I was saying. I mean, it's just as much the quarterback's job to put him in the right protection as it is for them to protect him.
Right. And well, and there's times where that one that he got sacked on like the 2 or whatever. He didn't step. I mean, he had plenty. He could have stepped up and ran for 20 yards. He just, I don't know. I don't know if having all that time off from being injured or whatever, if he still isn't in the flow of things.
I don't think he's 100% healthy, to be honest with you.
Well, he played the worst half of his entire career. Worst half of his entire
Nobody's we're in week 8. Nobody's going to be, or whatever it is, week 7 now or 8. Nobody's 100% healthy. I don't want to hear. That's what I'm saying, man. Enough of these excuses with this kid.
Yeah. Well, and not having the run game, but it was hard to have the run game because we were playing catch up from the get go.
We were always behind the sticks. Always behind the sticks.
Yeah, we never had the opportunity to to really get off some good runs that would then parlay into some good play action, just to keep the Georgia defensive line didn't have to stay honest one second of the entire game. It was like from the beginning, they were just, we're going to meet 3.5 yards, 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and that's it. And they did that. And they I think Trey Wisner is a good back. I think Blue, I know Blue had some issues with the ball early, a few games ago, but I don't know why they just totally abandoned Blue running the ball. I don't, he's faster. He's, and then we've got the other kid. Who's the other kid playing third string right now?
Yeah.
Didn't see him.
Yeah, he should be he should be. If Blue's not getting the carries as the second string back right now, he should be getting the carries.
Oh, and
Jarrett Gibson.
There it is. Being the old man and really looking at this, I really think the defense played out of their mind. I mean, if they could have gotten off the field on that 8, Georgia came out and had an 80-yard drive, right? If the defense could have gotten off the field right there, it's a different game.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a different game. But what can by that time they were so dog tired and worn out. They had their backs against the wall the entire time. And
I mean, I'm honestly glad they only gave up as many points as they did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the defense didn't, I mean, I think they played out of their mind. I think, we talked last week, ET, about LaFau.
Mm-hmm.
I think he kind of got worked in this game. I think they really targeted taking him out and making Hill do it all. But that's where having Bando's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, may have helped a little bit. But I still think they played out of their minds. I still think
I mean, look, if there's one thing we know for sure,
I'll put that defense on the field with anybody in this country. Now, offense, we got to figure stuff out. But that defense, I'll put them against any offense. And I mean, because they worked back.
Yeah, exactly. They made him look. They made.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy is like you. It's almost like you can't even because before you got on here, I was talking about how Quinn didn't have a. He had a like he didn't. He looked like a second round, third round QB to me in this game. He didn't look.
Yeah.
He didn't look electric. He didn't look in control. He didn't look poised. He was making regular. But you can't even point to Beck and be like, "Oh man, if we just had that," because like he did the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no,
it wasn't even a game of quarterbacks.
no,
It wasn't a game of like one team had the better quarterback. It's like, oh man, only if Quinn would have.
no,
It's not even
no,
because
you're
you
right.
can, but they still didn't do anything crazy. I mean, that 3rd and 15 that you were talking about, I told Logan, it was eerily similar to the 3rd and 17 against LSU all those years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
It was the same backbreaking mentality. Like it was the same,
Yeah.
like just backbreaker. Because you go down there and score. Special teams keeps him down, gets it down at the 12. You work your ass off. You get it down to 3rd and 15, and then all of a sudden it's just a 23-yard dagger, and you're just like, oh my.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
from that
and-
on, you're just like, of course. I mean, what do you expect for these? I mean, when your
Yeah.
offense can't do anything.
I mean, they picked him off 3 times, and
That's another thing.
And the
What
offense,
more?
yeah, and we just couldn't capitalize. I'm glad that he went back. I'm glad he went back to Ewers after the half.
That's a whole okay.
But
That was the dumbest thing Sark has done since he's stepped foot on
think so.
campus. It was the dumbest thing he's done. He inexplicably, for no reason, created a quarterback controversy for no reason.
well,
Dude, he's a 3rd-year quarterback. Yeah, you're a little rattled, really? He's a little rattled. No, man, get in there, shake it, figure it out. Like,
I agree. I agree.
stop
but,
coddling him. Stop like holding him and like, no, get out there and figure it out.
well,
Because you put Arch in for 2 series, he didn't do anything anyway. So you just
he had
wasted
more- he
that.
had- he had rushing yards than any of our tailbacks.
Okay.
We had 2 rush yards at halftime. 2.
No. Well, they had 50 yards in sacks. So, but
anyway, so that's I'm tired of these excuses for Quinn. He was a little rattled. We just felt like he was uneasy. Too effing bad, dude. You're a 3rd-year quarterback trying to go to the draft next year. What are you gonna do when you're in New York when you're in New York for the Giants and you're on Monday Night Football with 4 million people watching you? What are you gonna do then?
Yeah. No,
Are you gonna crumble because you're a little uneasy? Come on, man.
I agree. I mean, I agree to a certain. I get the frustration.
Maybe I'm crazy. I think I'm a little more frustrated because I was so much in his corner. Like I was so much, and he just went out there and he made everybody look smarter than me.
Well, I mean, is that really that hard?
No.
I mean, we're talking about Ethan here.
Love you, Bubba. No, I get the frustration, and we're all frustrated. Everybody, for the first 3 quarters, I had like this WTF look on my face. I was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Oh, trust me, I was in the stadium now.
Cuss on here?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's after dark and we're sad. So
but
we're processing our emotions. Okay.
I was sitting like this for the first 2 quarters.
The first quarters were just garbage. They came out and they hit us in the mouth. I mean, they just straight up hit us in the mouth. Their defense against our offense, like I talked about last week, we were on here, Logie, and I was saying it's going to come down to our offensive line against their defensive line. That's going to make the game. Their receivers are not better than our secondary. I don't think
our receivers are better than their secondary. I mean, it's just
right. But it was going to come down to, and like I was saying the other night after the game, it's like they gave the blueprint, right? Send 7 and get in tight man coverage, and Quinn Ewers loses his mind.
I think that's going to be fixed this week.
They were doing like weird, like they would do like a twist on one end, and then they would send like a double A gap blitz, so it would look like it was like an octopus because they were just coming from everywhere.
Well, they schemed it great, and Georgia, they sent stuff. They made us look at shit that we didn't. But I mean that's where it was going to come down to. I said last week. It's going to come down to how the offensive line handles their defense. because their defense was going to come in ready to eat. I mean, they were you knew that.
Yeah, it's just
Kirby Smart. You knew that was going to happen. But
And we knew Kirby was going to come in here with a good defense. Whether
Well,
we've seen it this year or not, we knew he was going to come in here with
right.
a vengeance. Like,
But when it comes to Quinn,
he's our
it's
starter.
frustrating. I don't get it.
Arch isn't ready yet.
He's never been good at anything past about 35 yards. He's good at the intermediate. He's good at hitting those 5-yard outs. He's good at hitting those little dig routes. Where he can just kind of sling it. But when it comes back to stepping up into the pocket and putting one on a rope,
yeah,
that's not Quinn. I think, and I'm glad we didn't go to. The reason I'm glad they put Ewers back in, because if he would have benched Ewers and stayed with Manning, I don't think that's fair to Manning. I honestly, I mean, we're behind by 30, or
go figure it out.
Whatever it was,
Yeah.
And I think that had a chance of really messing him up. It's like, so I get the frustration, and there's a time where you got to look at yours and say, you put up or shut the fuck up and get the fuck
Right.
out.
Either be elite or don't. Like,
right. But
either that's what's so frustrating is because like he's
But we've
right
seen
there,
him.
man.
He's elite.
He's
We've
right
seen him.
there.
well,
We've
and
seen him beat a good Michigan defense.
Well, and I think I don't think it was only Ewers that was rattled. I think Sark was rattled.
Yeah.
I think with the defense they came out and did, everything he had planned went straight out the effing window. And he was backpedaling and crawfishing and trying to find something that worked.
Right, and you can see that because so they did the little yo-yo motion, where they would send Blue out and have him just kind of run out and then kind of jog back to try to identify what Georgia was doing. They didn't do nothing, so it was like they would do it every time because that's a good identifier to know what's going on the back end, who has leverage or whatever, and they just. He was trying to do it to figure out what to do,
right?
But nothing was happening. So he was like, okay, they would get into one look, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna do it this time and see what they do. And then if they go back to, and then they would just never do it. So that it was gaining no advantage. It just felt like he was just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what stuck.
And that's that. And I think that's what happened, And
Right.
so Ewers never got into like a rhythm. The offense never got into a rhythm. The receivers never got into a rhythm. They punched us in the mouth, man. I mean, that's just the good old walking up and just hitting you the snot right out of somebody, And what is it? Tyson that said everybody has a good plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah,
and we got punched in the mouth, and that's just all there is to it. And kudos to Georgia. I wish we would have done it. Right? I mean, just flip the script, and we'd be sitting here bragging about how we went in there and punched them in the mouth, and
just like we did when we went into Bama and did it, or just like we did when we went into Georgia and did it.
Right. And so you got to give them kudos, and now this is why Sark makes $10 million a year. You
better figure it out, bub.
Like right now,
what Sark is going to find out. Is it's his fault that we're all upset. Really, he set the bar so high.
Well,
he did it he set the bar so because like under Herman or Strong, it was like maybe but now with Sark, the expectation is you're going to go in there and you're going to play at a high level every week. There is no.
Well, and I think he fully embraces that. You always hear him say this.
And we're going to figure that out. We're going to learn that this week.
Right.
I mean, these next couple of weeks, Vanderbilt and then Florida and then
Because
it's gonna be interesting these next 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Because everybody's every you don't think Florida's sitting down looking at that film? You don't think Vandy is going,
so that's how you do it. Exactly.
This fucked them up, and they may make their own, depending on their personnel,
version, do a little version of it.
Version is of it, but it's going to look a whole lot like that. It's going to look a whole lot like that, and
maybe we're just not allowed to go to the games.
That's not true. This is the first game we've been to that we didn't win.
True. Maybe I'm not allowed. Well, we won last week.
It's not us. See, it's not us this time. It's not us
But-
this time.
But you know,
And you were at the ULM game, right?
I was at the ULM game,
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. That was a fun game. It was. It was a lot of fun.
yeah. I mean, it. You know, so
I think in order for us to be good, we have to establish some sort of run game.
you do. You know, and
Because this offense, like Ethan said, thrives off of being able to the play action pass.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
and,
here we go,
and-
here we
and,
go.
you know,
Like
the RPO. Like,
Yeah.
there was 0 RPO game on Saturday. Like there was because you have to have a run to have a PO, right?
Well,
Yeah,
there were-
right. Yeah.
there-
And
You
if
have
you
to
don't
have the R
run,
to
I'm
get
gonna get
the-
PO'd.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to have the R to get the P to get the O. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
there
That's
was
how
a
that
couple
works.
plays that Quinn like kind of did the option and then he just let it go and I was like, man, if he took that, he's
I
still
know,
running.
man.
that's you know, that's the one aspect that I mean, you saw Arch do it.
Yeah,
You know, he stepped up and ran for 20 yards.
Well, that's the thing. Is
Quinn
like,
would never do that.
if
That would have been a
if,
sack.
if Sark put Arch in to do something similar to that, almost use him as the running quarterback, as weird as that sounds. But if you kind of wanted to go to more of a heavy RPO, like let's establish that we can actually do this, and then that's one way to get the run game going, right? But he didn't do that either because if he would have because there were some plays he called for Quinn. Like there was multiple times. I think it was either like a 3rd down or a 4th down where he handed it off to Wisner going right, and he just let the ball go. And if he literally, it was like
Yeah, there was nobody on the left.
not even
Everybody
a
just
soul,
crashed.
every
Yeah, yeah,
single person.
right.
And it was
right.
like, now if you would have just now let's say you wait a couple series, you know you're going to put Arch in the back of your mind because shit's not going right. Okay, let's put Arch in, but you keep that in the back of your mind. Like, okay, but I know they're crashing, and obviously Georgia knows that Arch is a runner, so maybe he hands it off the first couple of times because they're like, oh, so they're just handing it off. It doesn't make a difference, and then you can kind of go back in. There's just
Well, you know, but yeah, there you can go back, but it honestly with what they were doing up front, it felt like they were sending 6 and 7 guys every time. I don't know if they did, but if that's the case, you lose your outlet because your running back staying in to try to find one of
Right.
these guys to block.
right.
So you lose your outlet, right?
You lose the tight end most likely.
Well, then everybody just locks up.
Yeah.
You know, I think you know those first 4, 5, 6 games, people were rushing 3 or 4 and dropping everybody
8.
else.
Yeah.
You know, and our guys were able to, you know, he was able to do rub routes and digs and, you know, find those. You know, Helm was
Right.
able to get up the seam and find that spot. You know what I mean? But this one was like, no, we're going to bring the house and we're going to lock up on man to man. You know, and then because you get the, you know,
Yeah.
you saw that a couple times. You know, the like he wanted to pull a trigger, but he's so worried about throwing a pick
right.
and taking care of the ball that he's like double clutching because, you know, if everybody's locked up in man, you got 7 guys coming, you got about that long to, you know, but that's where, you know, I think he misses the opportunity to extend a play by not stepping up in the pocket, by not rolling. I would have liked to have seen more rollouts. Designed rollouts.
Yeah, right. Get him out
You
of the
know,
pocket. Right.
Just,
he obviously he didn't.
a sprint out, like get it and go. You
Obviously,
know,
he didn't have
and-
enough time to stay in the pocket, so get him out of the pocket.
Right.
Let
Move
him
the
move.
pocket.
Because
Move the pocket.
you know
right.
those guys were just pinning their ears back and being like, "We're going to meet right there." Like they were pointing 4 yards behind Quinn and saying, "We're going to meet right there." You know, that's where I wanted to see more sprint outs. You know, sprint out, get Gunnar Helm coming. You know, for 4 yards, 3 yards. Who cares, right? But at least make those guys think about where the hell they're going. Because you know, if they're doing a stunt on the left side, then sprint to the left side. You know, and get those guys, you know, trying to jump, you know, trying to figure out which way to go. You know what I mean? And get Gunner on a drag, get Wingo on a drag, get, you know, more on a little, you know, sprint out dig route. Here you go, and go on. You know, let him get some separation. Give him a little bit more time because Quinn can throw on the run. He can. He's fairly good at throwing on the run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't. There was too much of this. Shotgun, one step, and never moving. It's like he'd get the ball, he'd go to throw, and he'd never move. He would just sit. And instead of, your ends are coming around, instead of stepping up into that, and giving yourself another second and a half.
Yeah, he had about a second and a half to get rid of the ball.
Right, but you give yourself another 1 second, that lets Wingo and DeAndre and those guys, at least try to make their first move.
Why are we not seeing more of Wingo?
That's the thing, dude. Is I don't
know.
Everything about this game was so weird.
Yeah,
like everything that because
we saw Wingo. We saw Wingo at the Oklahoma game. That dude's a dog.
Right, and we saw him against Michigan.
He's. Did Bond play?
Yeah,
Bond played, right?
Yeah, I think he played. I don't think he played much in the second half.
Or what about Jonte Cook?
Well,
right. That's another one. That's another thing I was wondering.
There's some things with Jonte. I think, he loves to play, but he doesn't like to practice. It's kind of but I don't know. That's kind of what I've reading between the lines on things.
Yeah.
Is he loves to he loves to be the guy that shows up when the lights come on to go play, but he doesn't necessarily like to put the work in outside of that.
Yeah,
but
I mean it makes sense.
And I have to respect the coach on that. I mean, you practice like you're going to play. I mean, you can't go through the motions and to think you're going to come out and be, wide receiver one.
So Ethan, you're talking about Tom Herman, and
why? Whoa. I've not had enough bourbon to have that conversation.
No, because he was talking about this looked like a Tom Herman team and whatnot, and I said no, it didn't. But there was one key point in this game where it looked like a Tom Herman led team. Can you tell me what moment that was?
There's just one of them.
Just.
No, I don't know. I've kind of blocked those years out.
I know, right? I'm trying to think. Not taking the points on a field goal.
Not taking. I gotta understand. Like we get the ball. Like you kick the field goal.
I think at that point I think at that point we were only down 23-15, right? Or was it? Or
I don't remember that.
It was like 4th and 15 or something.
I was heavy into the bourbon at that point, so I probably need to rewatch the fourth quarter, honestly.
Dude, I was thinking about rewatching the game tomorrow, but I just don't know if because I figured. So Logan, I don't know if Dad told you, but I had to leave at halftime.
You left at halftime?
I watched it in the car.
You had like a migraine.
Dude, I had like a killer migraine. Like it was, but the crazy thing is,
so Dad ended up sitting in a parking garage by himself, screaming at a TV like a lunatic. Okay, if anybody had that on camera, it would we win money. We win money,
dude.
Because I'm sure Schultz could hear me screaming. I mean, I'm sure that. I mean, if somebody had that on camera, I'd probably end up in an institution somewhere.
The crazy thing is I think I just worked I worked myself up. So I was so focused because I was like, I had like 3 beers. Like I didn't even drink that much.
Yeah, that was early.
It was like literally like right at kickoff. I was like, oh God, what's happening? Like I literally worked myself up so much.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I want to put myself through that again and watch it again.
I was there at 6:30 in the morning. I didn't get home until almost 1 o'clock in the morning.
I still need to hear the story how you got in the game.
Okay, so here's let me just.
Well, I don't know if we want to incriminate ourselves here right now.
It's okay, though. It's fine.
We got one viewer. It's fine.
As long as you weren't one of the guys throwing bottles, because I'm sorry, I'm an old man, and that was some trashy shit.
Yeah, God, get off your high horse, man. Both of y'all.
Okay,
that was some trashy shit. If you guys ever at a game and you do that, I'll whoop your ass.
Nah, whatever. Logan, carry on. You almost threw somebody off the 3rd floor, DKR. I don't want to hear
that.
That
was after the game, and he was talking shit.
It was like the 7th floor. We were just coming down from the deal. So
like
up there
the
next to Jesus.
You almost
Anyway.
sent somebody back up to Jesus. Okay, we
Well,
was on
that-
our way down. You almost sent them back up.
And that,
Anyways,
that-
Logan,
yeah,
carry
I mean,
on. Sorry.
TCU
Okay,
fan.
so-
He was a TCU fan. He would have got in the front of the line.
Okay, so I was with my buddy Nick, and we met up with some of his friends, and they had tickets, and so they went in front of us, and we were at gate 8, and they went in front of us, and I could see that they weren't really paying attention. People were just trying to scan tickets, and so I was like, I turned back, look at my friend Nick, and I was like, walk. So I just walked right in. I was like, no way that worked. I thought for sure they were like, sir. Nope. Got in. Sure enough.
Well,
I didn't even have to
only-
pay anybody.
Only if we won. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so pissed.
Well, I mean,
I think we're going to be fine.
the
I
whole,
think
the whole
everything's going
goal
to be okay.
was, like at the beginning of the season, if I would have said, hey, we're going to win our first 4 and we're going to split OU and Georgia.
Okay. That's what I said before we got to Oklahoma.
No. We needed to beat. Well, we needed to beat Michigan, Georgia, not B, but it was between Michigan, Georgia, or A&M. Or you can even throw Arkansas in there because nobody likes them and they don't like us. But
Well, that's some old school. That's some old school hate.
yeah, right, exactly. That's from deep into belly hate.
Yeah, that's
But now
that's like grandma and grandpa all the time. Like,
yeah, so now we have no room for error at this point. Like, no.
But if you were to choose to lose to any of those teams, who are you going to choose to lose to?
Georgia.
Well, obviously you choose to lose to Georgia, but I'm saying
I mean, not choose to lose, but best case. I mean,
Best case.
best case scenario, you lose one. That's the one you want to lose to,
Yep.
right? Like,
Right.
we don't ever want to lose. But if you would have told me, hey, we're 7 games in, we've 1 loss to Georgia, so it's still all in front of us.
Yeah.
This isn't a 14
But-
playoff; it's a 12-team playoff.
right. But what's frustrating to me, like I said to
Oh.
Logan, it's not even that we lost, but it's how it happened. Like we just
Oh, I
looked
know.
unprepared.
I know.
And I'm more like the version of Texas that showed up this Saturday is
You won't
not
see
going to
them.
win a national championship.
You won't see them again this year.
I hope you're right. I hope that's why we're going to learn a lot.
And you're 100% correct, TG. And if that's the product we get, we in trouble.
Right. And I'm not even saying.
We're at Vandy this week, right?
Yeah.
Oh well.
And they love to play spoiler.
Oh
This
yeah,
year, apparently.
Vandy's the new Texas Tech.
Ah, dang it! I thought we got rid of them.
Vandy's the
Crap.
new Texas Tech. But
Watch, we're gonna the new watch this generation of kids. Their crab cheese gonna be something against.
Don't say that. Don't put that in the universe.
Yo,
We're going to go out there and beat them 50-3, and we're going to be okay.
No, I think
Arch is going to play
Yeah.
the whole second half of this game.
and not because
Mm,
Quinn sucks.
Yes.
I won't know
Quinn's
if
going to
I'd
have
go
4
that far.
touchdowns in the first half.
I don't know if I go that far, boys. I think
You're
Vandy's
awfully
gonna-
confident.
I think well, let's.
Did y'all hear?
and
did y'all
you know
see
what? And actually, I don't care if so. Here's the thing: if you think it's going to be that, you think it's going to be we're going to come out, we're just going to smoke them. He better not pull Ewers out. He better not pull his foot off the gas. If that's the case, he needs to go out and win this motherfucker 75-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he did Texas like
last
that
week,
one time.
After last week, we've lost all of our. Oh, we're cool.
Right. No, yeah, exactly.
We're cool. No,
There's no more. Oh, we'll
If
hold
it's-
on to this till it matters.
yeah, no. If there's any time for all gas, no brakes, it's right now.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
agree.
sorry,
We got to
Vandy.
remind people because what they just did
Right.
is they validated what the entire country
Right,
had said
like,
all year.
Well, and you're talking about going out against Vandy, who took Georgia to the line, who beat Alabama, right? And so now, if there's any time at all for all gas, no brakes, right now.
Right.
Okay, I don't care if you got 40 on the board in the first. I don't care if you got 35 on the board in the first half. Go get another 35.
I agree.
Because Texas lost to Georgia, but man, they bounced back and smoked Vanderbilt.
Right, because
You know what I mean?
like I said, what they did this week is they basically validated what the entire country was saying. Oh, well, when they play somebody, y'all will find out.
Well, yeah, I laugh. I've been laughing the last 2 days. See, Texas wasn't SEC ready.
No, that's crazy. I didn't say all that. I didn't say all that.
So who in SEC is SEC ready? Because the only person to ever beat Georgia was Alabama, and they've got 2 losses. So
Right.
who is SEC ready?
Exactly. What does that
Who
even
is,
mean?
what is the SEC right now?
When was the last time Auburn was SEC ready? Well, I'm pretty sure their quarterback is now
Newton?
retired from the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's been that long. All right. So I mean, it's like that whole they weren't SEC ready. Are you really?
No, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So riddle me this: how is it that we've played Georgia the same amount of times as A&M has, and they've been in the same conference for 13 years?
Yeah, pretty much. I can't wait to be in College Station for that game,
I'm
dude.
not going there. You're crazy.
Oh my God, I
You're
can't wait.
literally insane. No, you're
Yes.
not.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Guys,
Yes.
I have to go. If y'all go, I have to go.
I was there at the last game. I want to be there at this
Oh
game.
my
Yes,
God.
sir.
We're going to end up in jail.
Yes.
I'm going to literally have to start a bail fund right now.
Just do GoFundMe. We're fine.
Just to go fund me, literally. This is
Yeah. I was the only guy in Burnt Orange standing in that bar when they kicked that field goal.
Now there's going to be 3.
And I left immediately.
Oh, no, that's when everybody, we need to go.
No. I did not need to go to the hospital or prison that day. So, because that was the only 2 options.
you left real quiet, huh? You just
I'm
I'm gonna head out.
like
I'm
a
gonna head
fool. I
out.
was like, "Whoop."
I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head out.
They kicked the field goal. I said,
I
"Where's the
remember
exit?"
Ethan, do you remember watching that at the old house?
I
on
do
the stairs?
remember. Yep, I do remember. Them stairs. Me and them stairs had some times during the dark ages. Let me tell you, I can remember watching the Crabtree thing and literally like falling down the stairs and then just die in tears, just like in a ball, just like.
Yep.
I could take
Yeah.
you to the bar stool I was sitting on when that happened. But
Yeah, I don't
But,
know. Listen, come on, guys. Why? Can we just
I'm gonna
can we
be
just
there.
find a really nice TV to
Loud
watch it
and
on?
proud. There's gonna be like 10 of them. There's gonna be like 10 of them, and ice
like-
cold beers, ice cold.
But
Well,
I'd rather.
but anyway, that's a ways off. When we got to get through Vandy, we got to get through Arkansas,
Kentucky.
we got to get through Florida, we got to get through.
Kentucky.
We got a couple. Who?
Kentucky.
Kentucky, which is another one.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's what I'm saying.
These next 4 games are trap games, literally.
Well, and it's they can be trap games, or they can be like redemption games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's how we should look at it. Not trap games, but redemption games.
yeah, and this is where if there's anywhere Sark, if there's any time that there's all gas no brakes, right now, you better find a way to put that. It's pedal on the right, all the way down, and
Cut the brakes.
And, do not let up. Do not take prisoners. Do not take just. And if yours comes out and he struggles,
There's gonna be a conversation.
there has to be.
Okay. So that was my follow. That was what I was gonna go with, because like that's what, like I said, that's why I'm so frustrated, is because I've been in his corner this long, and now it's like, dude, you're giving me nothing right now. You're not helping me out here. So like, when is it not a crazy, outlandish conversation to have? Because
I don't think it's crazy or outlandish conversation to have, but I think you need to give him the opportunity. Him and Sark. Okay, because him and Sark have worked together for 3 years now. So you can't just. I guess my thing is you can't put it all on yours. You can't
That's fine.
all go on yours.
That's
so
fine.
Those 2 guys need to get on the same page. And I know that they say, "Oh, we don't care about what's going on. We don't care about everything on the outside." Bullshit. I don't care who you are. especially
Did y'all see
especially
the
22-year-old kids. They watch ESPN, they're on Twitter, they're on all this, and they see everybody talking about how badass they are. And, okay, so here's one of the things, and there's multiple things that happen, but right now there could be multiple outcomes, right? The one that you hope is the outcome is you hope that this is an awakening. You hope this is, oh, we got to get after it. You hope it's an awakening that, yes, you've had all the success and it was a humbling moment, because you always hear, oh, they had a great week of practice.
Yeah, right.
The best week of practice since I've been here, but have they?
Yeah, what does that mean though? Right.
Have the coaches had the best week of practice? We're
Right.
talking a lot about the players having a good week of practice. Have the coaches had a good week of practice? I hope it's an awakening in the program. Come out and just steamroll, and it may, and it may not be, a 40-point game, but you want to see them come out, execute, and do their game plan, and have consistency. If that means, we get some turnovers and we, whatever, but it's got to be all gas, no brakes. If Ewers comes out and he's making the same, not stepping into the pocket, not extending the plate, staring down his receivers,
There's one player, and I was like, dude, he looked at him the entire way.
Yeah.
Like, what else do you expect?
Right. And there was a lot of that. And I think it was partially because he's rattled, partially because he didn't want to have a pick or another turnover because he'd already had, a fumble and a pick. You know what I mean? So I think there was a lot of we got to be the one delivering the punch first, not them. Right. That's what has to be. That's what has to be the mentality is we're going to punch them in the mouth from the beginning,
Right.
And but this is about winning football games. And, if Ewers continues to struggle, I don't know how you don't. And
I don't think you should wait a whole half.
I don't think you do it during a game. If he comes out next week and he struggles, Manny, you got to start for the next game. Don't throw Manning into a shit show.
Right.
Don't throw him into a shit show. Let him know on Wednesday, you're the dude. Be prepared.
Yeah.
We're handing you the ball. Let him go through. Don't because they, you always say, hey, they practice like they're going to start. They prepare like they're going to start. Do they?
No.
You know what I mean?
I can tell you that from even when we played ball in high school. I mean, it's completely different.
Right. But you still, it's
the starter gets more reps. The starter gets
and the starter's going over. Okay, here's our concept. Here's what we're trying to do. Here's, and yes, but get timing with Wingo. Get the timing down with Bond. Get the time. Get with those guys and be like, here's what we're doing. And because when Colt, I'll never forget. I don't know when it was, but when they played Ohio State, when Colt played Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
And that play to Quan Cosby that won that game wasn't a called play. They didn't even talk to each other. They looked at each other, nodded, and they knew exactly what to do. There were no words spoken. There were no, whatever signals. Walking up to the line, they looked at the defense. They looked at each other and knew exactly what to do.
So,
Cosby, boom, touchdown, ball game.
do you think it's tougher to do that with an Isaiah Bond or a Matthew Golden because they're brand new to the team? They haven't had that 3 years to make that kind of bond, literally. Huh? See what's
I don't. I mean, I don't think it's easy, regardless of how long you've been there. But
Yeah,
if you're in a practice and you've got a defense that's shown you something, you run through the play and then you're standing there going, well, if they do that, then you're good here. You've got to have that. And I don't know if that even happens anymore. I don't know if they're so compartmentalized that that they don't do. I don't know. I'm almost 50 years old. I haven't played football in since Reagan. So
like Ronald Reagan,
Bush, the first one.
Since World War II, is that what you just said?
Just shortly thereafter.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, it was this thing called the 80s. I don't know if y'all, but anyway.
The 80s, dude.
But it's things like that chemistry, and that's part of the transfer deal and people coming and going is will you have that, or how do you achieve that, to where, you walk up to the line and everybody recognizes the cover and goes, this is what we do here.
Right.
You're going to break your route. You're going to break your route. You're going to go right behind this guy. I'm going to drop it in the bucket and you're just going to walk in. But there's no way to do that throwing a guy in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
At least if you start on Tuesday and Wednesday and you're running scout team and you're doing that, you see the looks, you see the things, and being able to get, at least the opportunity. I'm not saying that will happen, but at least the opportunity for all you guys to be on the same page. It's like, hey, if they go too high and we're in this hill, you're going to break your route, or this is the option you're going to take, and you know what I mean. So, because I know everything's an option right now, and everything was
right.
But so you both know what option you're taking.
Right.
But I don't like throwing quarterbacks in the middle of a shit show.
Well, just this one in particular, it just seemed so. Because
I remember everybody's reaction in the stadium. It was just like, what the hell is going on right now? Like,
yeah,
and that's coming from a stadium that previously cheered Arch into the game.
Right.
So if even the fans that were calling for him to go into the game previously were like, wait a minute, why are we that makes it even more like,
oh,
what?
When I saw Arch in the game, that was a strong drink. That was may just been straight from the bottle. Yeah, I'm like, oh, here we go. But just I had flashbacks of what's his name in the national championship game.
Garrett
Who's
Gilbert.
the kid? Yeah, that. I was like, oh, this is going to end well, because if Georgia wasn't hungry already, throw the kid in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's like, yo, you're hungry. Well, here's a treat.
Yeah, literally. Well, just like from a
locker. Arch isn't he's a phenomenal.
Well, but I'm saying
you're putting him into an impossible situation.
Or just even from like a locker room point of view, that's got to throw them off for a loop too. Because it's like, do we believe in him? Like, is that the company line? Like, they're all looking around like, is he our guy?
Well, and I think, and that's why I'm glad they went back, because I think you avoided a lot of that. Because if he's in there, it's like, hey, we just needed to talk about some things and get reset and figure out what they're doing. I mean, obviously it helps because the second, fourth quarter were
much better, right?
Not fantastic, but comparatively,
yeah, that's kind of what I was telling Ethan.
Versus the second quarter, so maybe that was that. Hey, sit back, go talk to who's the quarterback coach,
Millie.
Go talk to Millie. Go talk to these guys. Y'all go over and what are you seeing? Where are you at? What here's what we're maybe they gave them that much longer to have a conversation, and then they go in halftime and say, okay, we're regrouped, we're reset, we're going to go out. Because if you left him out, then I think you run into what you're talking about, AT, where you just take him and bench him, and you throw Arch
Arch.
in. Then I think that sets in. You know what I mean? I think pulling somebody out, and resetting them, and figuring out where they're at, but saying, okay, we're going right back to you, is different than just go sit down till Monday.
I mean, okay,
You know what I mean?
maybe. I mean, yes, okay. It makes sense in the sense that if you wanted to just need it and you needed more time to talk about what the heck is going on, fine. But I feel as if you just leave, because like it's two. You were going. Arch was in for 2 series going in. It's not even like he was in for 2 series going into halftime. What you weren't going to do anything different.
7 or 8 minutes.
Fine, but but why even? You're going into halftime though. It's not like you're going into the second quarter. It'd be one thing if you're going into the second quarter,
That's
but
what
you're going into halftime.
It just gave him, that much more time.
They gave him 20 minutes instead of 15 minutes.
Right. It just gave but regardless, I think you squashed any kind of doubt or question going back to him in the second half. Because if you do, you know what I mean? Like, because
it does help. It does help.
What good would it have done if he was in those last 2 series? He was having the worst half of his life. Like,
it does help that you have a backup at the caliber that is Arch, that you can just say, hey, I need you to go plug this hole for like 7 minutes.
Turns it over.
Right.
And then Arch turns it over. So it's like, it wasn't like Arch came out and set the world on fire. Yeah, made a couple plays.
Right.
But he still turned the ball over.
That's what makes me
think. I think the entire effing team, if they could have gone and sat, on the second in this, that last half of the second quarter, they all would have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't just pull the entire team out and go,
right.
What is going on?
And that's what makes it so weird, because like in the second half, you give up 7 points, and it's like, you have. That's what makes it so frustrating, because like the one guarantee we thought we had coming into this game was that this Texas offense was going to be able to, at minimum, move the ball.
Yeah.
At minimum, right?
Right.
But they couldn't do it. No, you're good. They just couldn't do anything. Like I said earlier, the defense gives you 3 extra possessions. Now, granted, you go and turn the ball over 2 or 3 times your damn self, so now you're basically giving them right back. So you're back to square one. So that doesn't help. But that's also on the offense. So your offense turning the ball over. You got your defense only giving up 7 points. Now, if I told you that in the second half of the game, the defense only gives up 7 points before the game even starts, you probably think we win the game. If I read you Carson Beck's stat line and told you they only give up 7 points in the second half, I think we win that game.
I still think if you show me the stat line, I think we win. If you show me just the stats,
the yards
gained, the rushing, throwing. If you show me the stat line, I'm like, yeah, we won that game.
And that's what makes it such a weird, looking at the stat line, you think it's maybe 17-14 or like super low scoring, but 30-15, you got doubled up on.
But that's crazy. The thing is, you look, because it doesn't say where the turnovers happened. It doesn't say they happened at your 13.
Right.
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. Yeah, they didn't have a lot of offense, but they got 20-something points on 60 yards of their 260 yards of offense.
Right.
It was a very odd
where
game.
The turnovers happened. It's where the turnovers happened is what killed them.
And at what point in the game they happened.
Right.
Where on the field and at what point they happened.
If we would have turned the ball over on their 5 and then they had to go 95 yards, that's not happening. The defense would not. That wasn't going to happen. They had one drive that was longer than like 20 yards, 30 yards.
Right. There was that one they scored to make it 30.
And they had 3 field goals, starting in our territory.
Yeah.
I mean, all they had to do was go 10 yards and they kick a field goal. But that's all they got. If those happen on their side of the field, this is a whole different ballgame. Because we equaled them. The turnovers washed out, but ours happened on our side.
Yeah,
and
where they happen were a big deal.
right. That was the difference.
Okay, Ethan. Do you think it was pass interference?
I'm gonna be right back. Hold on, y'all keep
No.
going.
No, it was not pass interference.
It wasn't even freaking close.
That wasn't even
the one-
close.
They overturned that call because they're going to lose their job on Monday if they didn't.
I agree.
That's how terrible that call was.
Carson, I feel like it was like Carson Beck was trying to get rid of the ball, and he just threw it in the direction of that receiver.
The
And
guy was
receiver,
blocking.
He was blocking.
It looked like it was an RPO. Like it looked like it was an
Yeah.
RPO, and he was just trying to throw it out of bounds and hopefully throw it at his receiver's back to not get it. To not get
the guy pushed him into the pick. Guy pushes him back, boom. I mean, it just landed. He didn't even try to catch that. The guy pushed him in to the ball.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You know
that was not.
But and I think because I saw it, I don't know if y'all did, but the amount of non-calls was unbelievable.
Yeah, there was a
Twitter. They're showing, they're talking about throwing bottles and stuff, and how Kirby's like, that's just putting people in danger. Blah, blah. Well, ask him why his players did it in the SEC championship to the Alabama team.
Oh, but it's okay. Whatever.
They were pouring beers on all the photographers. Yeah, we got receipts, motherfuckers. We're talking shit.
Yeah.
Go do your thing. Come back. Oh my goodness. I feel like for the most part, I've said everything that needs to be said about what this last Saturday was. It all still is ahead of us. There's still, it's
no reason to freak out yet.
No reason to panic. There's no reason to jump ship or anything, but it is a kick in the nuts, figure out who you are moment for this team. And it's a wake up call. It's a you got humbled. Everybody was saying Texas needs to be humbled, and it happened. We didn't play very well on the offensive side of the ball, which is so weird. And then that's really what ended up, being the killer for us. And I think that this is a team that's is right on the edge of glory, if you will, and it felt like the ashes of the demons of our past reached out from the grave one more time, just to remind us that they're still there. And
I think you're right. I think it's good to have some perspective. Okay, I mean, 3 years ago, what were we sitting right now?
5-7.
Right. No, I mean like I saw somebody on Twitter earlier today kind of put it in perspective for me. They're like, we lost to Georgia. Okay. It's not like we lost to West Virginia or like Cal
or Iowa State.
Or Iowa, right? I mean, granted, Iowa State's good.
They're pretty good right now, but
they're pretty good right now. But
we could lose to Iowa State right now.
You keep that bad juju out of here. But don't put that bad juju on me, Ricky Bobby. Okay.
Just cut it out.
But Iowa State goes in cycles like that.
Yeah,
it's called they're cyclones. That's what they do.
There it is. But they go in cycles. It's like they'll be 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 12-1, 5-7. It's like a it's like watching like a cardiogram.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it's like I said.
We all just needed to take a breather. We saw a little bit, and
it makes me that much more nervous for like the rest of the year though, because I'm not. Now, it used to be the question is what Quinn are we going to get, right? But now it's like, because we knew our offensive line was solid, we knew our receivers were solid, we knew that we could at least have some sort of running game with Wisner and Blue, right? Those were all kind of more or less guarantees.
Ethan,
oddly enough, but we don't know. Now it's going to be what type of team, what Texas are we getting? Now are we going to get the Georgia Texas that we played against Georgia, or are we going to get the Texas that we played against Michigan?
Are
we going to get the Texas?
What's the quote? What's
Why-
the
why-
quote? It doesn't matter what happens to you. It matters how you respond to it.
Yeah, it's 90% what happens, or 90%, 10% what happens to you, 9% how you respond to it, or something like that.
How this Vandy game is going to be very, very telling, because not only is Vandy, well, but they're not the normal Vandy,
Right.
right? You know, would it have been nice to have, you know, a less challenging game? I don't know. I want them to be challenged, and I want to see how they respond to it. How do you respond to all these people on the message boards, you know, talking about, you know, Quinn's done, you know,
Speaking of that, did y'all see
an
the thing
offensive
today?
line, you know, why, who's starting, who's sitting on the bench, and
Right.
you know, and you know, who's you know, all the questions, all the guys like, you know, oh, I thought he was great. Now he's not. He's been mediocre. You know, he had a bad, because we talked about it too, ET. We talked about him coming out slow against Oklahoma. You know, he said if he comes out slow against Georgia, it's going to be a different game. If he comes out slow against Vandy, then
it's going to be a different game.
Now we have a trend.
Yeah, exactly.
In the wrong fucking direction.
Yeah.
You know.
Did y'all, Logan? You were going to say about the.
Yeah, did y'all see where that 240 or 24/7 Sports posted that he was going to be sitting out for the rest of the year?
Who?
It was obviously Quinn.
It was so
they got hacked or something.
They got hacked. Yeah, they got hacked, and they posted a graphic saying Quinn Ewers decides to sit the rest of the season to prepare for the NFL draft, and what made it even worse was that he didn't show up for the Monday like he's usually made available on Mondays, I think that's what I read. Is that he was usually made available on Mondays and he wasn't there, and then they posted the graphic that he was going to be sitting out, and then they deleted it real quickly and then made a statement saying that they were hacked and that they're, you know, investigating it, but that it was fake. But when I saw that, I was driving home from Houston, and when I saw that, I almost had to crash my vehicle.
You almost had to skirt.
Yeah, it was almost a 27 car pileup on the highway today. But and then I kept scrolling and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he posted on Instagram.
He was like fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would have been the beginning of the of a huge can of worms.
If I would have saw that, I don't know, man. I don't know what would have happened. But you know, you got catches 10 thoughts. Does Sark need to sit yours? That's his 10 thoughts from the weekend. You know,
no, it doesn't.
Well, but I'm saying how he responds, how he comes up, and how he, you know, is because if he comes out, you know, is he proving them right or is he going to prove them wrong?
This is when you find out.
How are you going to respond to this?
This is when you find out if Quinn has that dog in him for real.
Calls girlfriend down from OU, get him a little nookie. I mean, what do we need to do?
Yeah, right. This is when you find out if Quinn really got that dog in him. If Quinn really got that him in him.
Joseph Mbachu just decommits from Florida.
I did see that. He's been a silent lean for a while now. He's kind of been him and Hilson and there's another.
They were all here. That was in okay. So
that's what sucks the most is if it would have been in freaking.
We had over 100.
120 recruits there. 120 recruits, 420 credentialed, and there was like 50 NFL scouts. It was just crazy.
I know, and
that's how we came out and played. That's the performance you want to put out on the field. Really,
that's the problem, like, because that's. You
know,
that changes your trajectory.
Yeah, we will not get this type of game with this type of.
But at the same time,
rest of the year.
At the same time, in one of their deals on Orange Bloods, they were talking about they already have agents from players playing currently on other teams about transferring in December.
No, yeah, that it's been pretty well.
Isn't that like tampering?
Not if the agent contacts them.
No,
Texas
see,
can't
it's-
contact them, but the agent can, because they all have agents now.
Yeah.
So the agent can contact Texas and be like, "Hey, we're thinking about jumping ship."
I mean,
But
there's been.
they
I mean,
said the players are doing it to turn around and go, "Oh well, Texas said they'd take us." So they're trying to, they're playing the game of
yeah.
the NIL game. Oh
Yeah.
well, so you got to, and whatnot.
Well, it's been rumored, or not rumored, but just talked about how even in the summer, or early in the off season, Texas felt like they were going to clean shop in the transfer portal after this year. Because here's the thing. Here's what I think is going to end up happening. They're gonna have to take an offensive lineman or two, this offseason, because you do not want to roll into. I guess it doesn't matter because you're gonna have to all five. Because there's both your tackles are gone. Okay, both of them. I mean, actually, after this game, Cam Williams didn't help himself too much. Neither did Kelvin Banks, but Kelvin Banks, a lot of it wasn't his fault. But still, nonetheless,
Those are both day one guys.
well, yeah, for sure, exactly.
Right,
So you're
right
gonna
now, they're both.
You're gonna need to bring in an offense. You're gonna need to bring it. There's just they feel pretty confident going into next season that they're gonna be able to pretty much just pick and choose like it's a car dealership what sports car they want this time.
And it's funny you make the sports car deal. I don't know, was it you guys I was talking to this about? But Colin Coward was talking about how people are talking about the SEC or Texas and SEC ready, and he was like, the SEC isn't Texas ready. He's like, how many Lamborghini dealerships are in Starksville, Mississippi? He started naming off all the companies that were headquartered in Austin, and he said the SEC is not ready for the Austin, Texas economy. He said, Starksville, Mississippi, the Ford dealership's the biggest thing in town, right?
Right.
He said, they're handing out Lambos at Texas, not F-250s.
I want an F-250.
I mean, same. Same. But I don't know. I kind of like the AT4s, but
or an AT4 would be fine too.
How about just a good vehicle?
one that doesn't have or does have air conditioning for you, Dad?
Okay, so let's wrap this up with just kind of your expectations on the outlook of the season, and kind of where you kind of feel, where did this game set us up for the future, kind of where you see things going. Logan, we can start with kind of how you feel about where we're at, where we're going.
Right now, or this past weekend, I think was the worst you're going to see Texas play this year. I think that there's so much bright side right now. And I think our offense is going to get back on track. I think Quinn's going to get back on track this week, even though he wasn't available for comment today. But he, I mean, who would want to be available for comment after that game? But I think our defense is going to hold their head high on what they did this week too.
Right.
Like Trey was saying on Saturday in the parking garage, is we've got a lot of stuff to hold our head high on this week. And I think we'll be fine. Other than that, hook 'em. Let's go.
Yeah. Dad?
It's how we respond. I think, there's no one on our roster that is going to be as well-rounded as Georgia.
Right.
Nobody. Well, that Thanksgiving game, we'll see how the next 4 weeks go.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
But I think that's the game that I would have circled. But it's how we respond. Our defense is unreal. I mean, I think they could possibly be the one that carries us, right? Everybody came in thinking the offense was going to be the determining of the season, but the defense is playing just lights out.
You know what they say about defenses?
Yeah, and they had their backs against the wall, right? But before that night, I don't care who you're playing. If you're averaging 6 points a game, I don't care who it is. You're holding people. You're averaging under a touchdown a game, right? I mean, that's ridiculous, and that's including OU
And Michigan.
and Michigan, and so. I think the defense could be the one that pushes the whole team, the whole damn university on their shoulders, and gives the offense a game or two to figure it out. But I'm not nervous. I think I was after the game I was obviously frustrated and all that, but 48 hours later, whatever this is.
Yeah.
We're 5 in the country. We've got the number 1 defense in the country. We've got, we've got a head coach who is widely thought of as the greatest offensive mind in the game. Does Ewers have some stuff to figure out? He's got some stuff to figure out, but I think Sark has done enough to deserve the benefit of the doubt on getting that figured out.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that, like I said numerous times, obviously everything is still ahead of us. We're playing in a conference where we're gonna have to nut up or shut up. We're gonna have to put our nuts into it and figure it out. I think defensively, let's just stay the course. Defensively, keep doing your thing. Defensively, you don't have a whole. I don't have a whole lot to say to you. Y'all 3 interceptions. You did what you had to do. No complaints here. Let's just keep that up. Offensively, Quinn. This is his time to figure out if he's him or not. Is he elite or is he not? And this is Sark gonna, be the head coach we think he can be? Is he gonna get, because he was all discombobulated, so he's gonna have to figure that out too. And like you said, Dad, it's how we respond. So I think if we can come out and just, like you said, if now's the time to show your all gas, no brakes. So. Yeah. I think this week we're gonna come back. I'm gonna come back on later on this week, and I'm gonna discuss the Vanderbilt game and kind of break that down and whatnot, implications of that, and the rest of college football. But I know I said we were gonna get into the Texans stuff, but I think I'm gonna do that at a different time because
an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
10 o'clock. Gotta be up early.
Yeah. So
I gotta go be a husband. So
yeah. All right. Well, if there's nothing else from anybody, everybody good? Everybody good?
Cool. Keep Grandma and Pappy in y'all's prayers.
Yes, please do. Please pray for the grandparents. Love you too, Bryce. You can go back and watch the rest of the show.
Oh. Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me on, Bubba's. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Have a good night for Logan and Dad. I'm Ethan. This is Texas Sports World. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's night, rest of y'all's week, and we will see y'all next week. As always, hook 'em, and everybody else sucks.
I with that beefing on the net. Tell me what's next.